Today, I am reviewing the second generation AirPods with the wireless charging case. The latter doesn't really matter that much, but you know what? Let's just get to the review. My name is Matt and this is Real World Review, and these are the second generation AirPods. Are these just a meme, or are they something more? Let's start with the design. White, shiny, satisfying. This case is so simple looking, yet it is so hard for other companies to match the design somehow. Same with the buds. They do, however, catch scratches very easily. Here's an out of focus picture of the case 2 hours after buying these. Crazy, right? I also saw a post on Reddit talking about how the lid doesn't fit perfectly on some cases, and it made me realize that mine is the same way. Kind of weird. Now, let's talk about the sound. They aren't terrible, but they should be way better. It's really weird because I have these Cowan headphones, which I said sounded like they were closed sounding rather than open sounding. Somehow the AirPods seem to do the same thing, but sound even more closed. If this doesn't make sense, I'm pretty much saying that these buds aren't as good as I thought they would be. Everything else is fine though. They get loud and they have a good amount of bass. Like a surprising amount of bass. Maybe these really were made by Beats rather than Apple themselves. These sound nice when listening to something like podcasts, but again, we go back to the issues. Whether we're talking about Android or iOS, Apple Music or Spotify, even at the highest quality music playback, these buds crackle at 80% or higher volume, which is not the best at all. As for Bluetooth connectivity issues, expect this on Android at times, but with the iPhone, the H1 chip allows you to listen with very little latency, and I never experienced a drop in connection. There's no noise insulation, but turning them up and kind of twisting them into your ear will give you a slightly better seal, and this also makes the music sound a little bit better, but not as good as normal insulating headphones, even the cheap ones. Also, these buds stay in fairly easily. I would assume if you fall with these in, they may drop out, but I would also assume that that happens with other earbuds as well. What I'm saying is, I didn't have an issue with these staying in my ear, but other people might have that issue. I honestly thought maybe I would have to break these in or something because it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense that these are so popular, yet the sound quality isn't anything special. With this said, if you grew up on Apple's EarPods, you might not notice a difference at all. The battery life on these is kind of interesting. There's many features that will cause you to get varying battery life, but generally these buds get about 4 to 5 hours of listening to music, while the battery case will give you 2 or 3 charges before dying altogether, which adds up to 8 to 15 hours of usage in total. This is an estimate based on my basic usage, even though Apple claims that you can get up to 24 hours of usage with the case. Another thing that is nice is that if the buds do die while using them, throwing them in the case for 15 minutes will give you a little over 50%, which is pretty awesome. Full charge should take somewhere around half an hour to 45 minutes. As for the case itself, it should take roughly an hour to charge with a 5 watt or higher charger because it generally charges at less than 2 watts. Yes, this means that you can charge it on your computer and it'll be perfectly fine. This is also assuming that you use them long enough to kill the battery. I tried and I couldn't do it because the quality of the music isn't as good as what I'm used to. With this said, these buds are pretty light and they don't hurt your ears when using them for a long period of time. At least they didn't hurt my ears. As for seeing the battery life, it's a little weird. On Android, the phone doesn't show the battery percentage at all, while iOS shows 3 battery levels. But since my phone is not on iOS 12.2 or higher, it just shows 1 level when pairing, and once it's paired, it shows the battery life of both buds, the case, and then another level? Not sure what's going on there. This is the reason that you buy these. There's nothing out there that isn't made by Apple that matches this, at least none that I know of. Opening up the case and having this little pop-up happen is pretty cool. There's a button on the back to activate a very simple pairing process, making it super easy for iOS and somewhat simple for Android. Then you have these controls to help customize your AirPod experience to whatever you want it to be. Moving to Android, on the other hand, is slightly frustrating. Again, this was because I didn't really know what I was doing. Maybe I should have read that short manual. It took me a few minutes to pair this, but once they're paired, they are still fast. They pair to the phone again after taking them out of the case within seconds, sometimes immediately. And with iOS, it pairs somewhat faster. The case has wireless charging, so you can slap it on a wireless charger and it'll charge. Pretty simple stuff, but not a lot of cases have this. If only there was a way to charge all 3 of these devices at the same time. Oh well. Another thing is that there's an issue with lint or even metal getting stuck in this case, and it's hard to clean. Not sure why, but I'm pretty sure it happens on both generations, along with the pair that I have. Like I said, these are highly recommended if you have iOS devices because they pair over iCloud as well. This means moving from phone to computer to iPad is super simple. The case seems a little bit bulky, but it's fairly small compared to other wireless buds. The buds itself are light and kind of just sit in your ear, making it very easy to forget that you even have them in your ears. Until you make a movement and realize you can hear every noise around you. With all this said, is it worth it? At $199? No. At $159? Again, no. Sure, we're probably paying for it being an Apple product and all the time that Apple spent making the AirPods as good as they are, but to me, they aren't that good, even with the noise insulation part aside. I've used so many truly wireless buds that sound much better than the AirPods and cost much less. Sure, they're missing the convenience factor, but I also don't think it's worth the extra $100 or more when compared to other buds in the same category. I mean, for double this, you can get a Series 4 Apple Watch, which is way more useful than these AirPods. Even for an extra $79, you can get a Series 3 Apple Watch. To me, it's not worth it, but maybe the convenience factor can help you make the decision. But I do think for an extra $40, wireless charging is not worth it either. And that's all I wanted to talk about. Finally, I reviewed the AirPods, something that I've wanted to do for over a year, and I'm kind of disappointed overall. I really don't understand the hype over these buds. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section or on Twitter at MattofRWR, and feel free to follow me on the social media listed above. Subscribe to my channel so you can see other review videos like this, as well as repair videos. And hit that bell button so then YouTube actually reminds you when those videos do come out. Thanks for watching.